In today's video, I'm going to show you how to turn a boring background like this into something like this for less than $200. So let's get into it. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Aaron here, back once again from the Real Estate Marketing Guys, as well as Revamped Real Estate, a company built specifically to help you grow a real estate YouTube channel and generate free buyers and sellers that actually want to work with you, as opposed to having to chase everybody all the time, cold call random people, knock on random doors, and yeah, we'll stop there. But like we said in the intro, we're going to be going over how we got this background, how we got this effect for less than $200. And you're going to be like, wait, what the heck? Like, how did you do that? We're going to jump into that, but two really quick disclaimers. Number one is the effect that I'm getting with this background and the lighting that I'm using is not, that's what's $200, not the camera that I'm using, the monitor, this mic, the lighting that I have in front of me. That's the added stuff, and it will definitely increase the, the price or the amount of money that you spend. But just know that the background, you can get something similar with just filming with your iPhone. And the second disclaimer is this was actually created or inspired by, his name is Ben Johnson over on YouTube. I'll leave, his links to his channel and the video specifically, so you can check out his perspective as well. But we're going to run through, how I set it up, give you some behind the scenes and some of the things that I found, make it look a lot better than just setting up a light and, putting the background behind you. So I'm going to leave all the relevant links down below this video and just going through some of the equipment that I'm using. We'll start off with the actual background itself. This is I believe what it's called is it's a light gray Savage seamless paper. And what that is, it just literally comes in a roll, comes in a really long box that's, you basically take it out of the box and you put it on the stand that'll also link down in the description below. And I'll have some time lapse stuff on screen so you guys can take a look at, how I was setting it up and things like that. It was pretty simple. It did take a little bit of time because I was like a one-man band, and full transparency, the roll of paper that I was using was definitely, it's not light, right? Especially the one that I got. And there's, I think, like 4 or 5 different lengths of paper that you can get. Of course, just based on your own specific needs, I guess. If it's just going to be you, I probably wouldn't get anything other than the one that I got, right? I have a pretty good amount of space on each side of me. If you do usually, do videos with multiple people, I would probably do something a little bit different, maybe get a little bit of a larger piece of paper. But yeah, like I said, this is perfect for just single videos, the one that I'll link down below, and make sure you look at the dimensions and the sizes of the paper before you actually buy it and choose which one that you want. So that's the paper side of things. I'll actually turn off this light really quickly and you guys will see, oops, I'm moving around, that it's just a gray piece of paper. So the research that I was doing and what Ben was talking about is the reason you want to pick gray is because it actually absorbs light really easily, or easier than like a white or, other colors or like a pure black. So the cool part is, again, I can turn on this light and I can change the light to whatever color I want, and I have a completely different setting, a completely different background every time that I want to record a video. So with that being said, really good transition into the types of lights that I'm using. So let's talk about those. So the lights that we're using in this video, and I've had them for the past couple of months and they've been super versatile, and they're called the Aperture MC RGB LED lights. I don't think that's the technical name for it, but that's what I'm going to call them. And I actually have 2 of them. And the reason that you want to get 2 is so that you can use one for the background. And it's cool because it has this app that you can just literally go in here and change the color. So if I want it green, if I want it yellow, if I want it red, if I want it blue, I find that like the blues and the purples, they absorb really well within the background. Like, look at this blue, like it's super bright, which is actually really cool. But something like the reds and the yellows, they do come up a little bit. Understand that, in post, in your editing software, you can bring up saturation, select the color and make it a little bit brighter if you wanted to. But just, I think it's just super versatile, and you can pick the mood of the lighting, you can change it up. And if you just wanted it to be like a white light and accentuate like the gray a little bit, you can do that, or just have a super like low hue. So that's the cool part about having these lights, and it's just super powerful. I literally have it right behind me on this little stand, and I can move it around. I can change the light. But one thing that I would definitely make sure that you do, sorry, hopefully you guys can hear me, is make sure that you have all the lights down in the room that you're in. It's pretty dark in here. There is some like backlight that's like spilling a little bit. But again, making sure that it's super dark is going to help you out a lot, so that, again, other like room lights don't really interfere with what you have in the background. And then the second aperture light that I have is actually over here off to one side of me. It's actually lighting this side of my face to give me a little bit more depth. So that's the reason that I get 2 of them. And I'll show you guys what that looks like once I have just one of them on. Is if I was to turn it off like this, it kind of just like, it makes it super shadowy on the side of my face, which isn't a bad thing, right? It just depends on whatever you're looking for your videos, if you want it to be that way. But I just like to have a little bit of that separation so that it starts to light this side of my face a little bit, and it shows that I'm not, directly against the background. So just something to play around with. I always get 2 of those lights, and yeah, that's pretty much it there. So let's talk about the stand that I have this on. So again, I'll leave the links down below so you guys can take a look of the one specifically that I got, but it's pretty much just like a regular lighting stand. If you've had like a box light or, you know, a ring light or anything before, it's basically the same thing. The only difference is it just has a pole that's connected at the top. That's one thing that I would definitely keep in mind. Again, like I said earlier, is the roll of paper is not light. Like I was trying to do it myself and you'll see me kind of struggling in some of the time lapses, but it's something where I would recommend to have 2 people. And when you do have like the actual, you know, the long portion of the pole that goes on top, I didn't have to use like an entire piece of it, right? Because it was not as long as I thought it was going to be, right? It wasn't the larger piece of paper. So, and there's other options as well. If you want to get multiple pieces of paper, or if you want a little bit more of a stationary setup, this is, again, I'm in a co-working space, so I don't like to drill things into the wall because I have to fill it after I leave and things like that. It's a massive headache. So if you have a home office or a little bit more of a studio that won't really change that much, you can definitely there is some like wall mounts and things like that. If you check out Ben's video, he has wall mounts on his video, and it actually is really cool because if you have something behind the paper, let's say it's like a completely different setting for your video, you can still have that, right? But then you can, you know, roll it up, roll it down when you're done. Not saying that you can't do it with this, it's just a lot easier when you have the wall mount on there. Okay, so jumping in here really quickly, I think it just makes more sense for me to have kind of this behind the scenes view as well, so you can see more or less what we're working with, and then I'll interject this into the video. So really the cool part about this setup is that you don't need a ton of space. This room that I'm in is a little bit larger. It's like 14 by 10. And you can literally just like set this up against a wall or something like that, and then just leave it there. We have, again, the black stand over here on this side, as well as on this side. The roll of paper is up top. And what I have these little clamps for is, you know, obviously you can take these clamps off. You want to have them up there so that the roll doesn't like go down by itself. When I want to put them up, I just take these off, put it off to the side, and I can roll it all the way up. Now, just keep in mind the only negative part about having these stands, like these light stands, as opposed to the like the wall mounts, is that they're a little bit flimsy sometimes because it's just a heavy piece of roll in between. So as long as you have like the 2 legs or the legs on each side are like steady and you have it centered, it should be fine. So let me bring this back down and I'll show you guys how the lighting works. The cool part about these rolls is that it does go out like, there's still a lot of paper left. So if you wanted to do like, you know, a little bit of a further shot and get like your feet in it, if you're doing some sort of like product shot or full body shot, you can definitely do that. With this paper, just know that you would be stepping on the paper. I always recommend, especially if you're using these types of lights, they're not super powerful. Like if you guys can see, I'll put this on. And that's, I mean, you can't even see that, you know what I mean? But because you're interfering with the lights in the room. But the cool part is if I come back here and I turn off the light, is it makes it a lot brighter, right? And then on this camera specifically, or on the camera that I'm filming on right now, it doesn't look that bright, but obviously the recording that you saw was definitely a lot brighter. I bring this down and I'll usually have it about like that anyway. And then I'll stay in here with my mic. I'll have this, obviously my camera would be out in the distance. That's the shot that you guys were looking for. And then you have this background here. And then with this light, this is the second one, the second MC aperture, is I'll usually turn this one on. I'll have it on like a white, or sometimes I'll have a little bit of like an orange tint in that. And then I'll just bring that off to the side over here as well, so that it's lighting the side of my face. So I'll obviously point it towards me, make sure that it's not in the main section of the, into like the main camera angle. And then this, I also put it at kind of like, at the side, because obviously if it was in front of me, it would just be lighting like the main portion of my face. So I always put it off to the side there, so that I have like kind of like that depth as well. So I have the light coming on this side of my face, I have the light going on that side as well, and it's spilling over here. So with this light specifically behind me, as you can see, you can kind of direction the light where you want it to go. So if I wanted it to be a little bit lower, a little bit higher, I just have, again, this extra light stand behind me, and I can point the light wherever I want it to be. And if you wanted to, if you don't want this hair light and we want a little bit more of a kind of intense color on the background, what you could do is have both these light stands, put them behind you, and then kind of pointing towards each other. So the only difference between my video and Ben Johnson, the one that I was talking about, is his video, he uses more of like a light bar, and it just makes it a lot more like saturated in the background. I find that from these videos that I've been making, one is like more than enough, and it really lights up the background, as long as there is some depth with you. Now, the one thing that I would make sure, especially if you're in a little bit of a smaller room, you definitely want there to be some separation between this backlight back here and yourself to the camera. Because if you're, let's say you're like right up on this, you're going to get some like color spill on yourself, on your shirt, the back of your neck, the back of your head. So you just want to make sure that there is enough depth between, you know, the light that's on the, you know, that's on the background, as well as, you know, the camera that's in front of you. All right, cool, another angle. So the reason that I have it on the ball head is because you want to be able to give it some sort of angle in the way that it's shooting out the light. So if you just have a regular light stand and it's, you know, directly at it, you're gonna get a lot more of just like kind of a circle, right? Because the light is a little bit more condensed in like a smaller amount of area. So if you have a light bar, obviously that would help out. But when you just add the, you know, this bar to it and you're able to angle it up just a little bit, it gives you a lot more of where the light is actually being shot to. Now, again, back to what I was talking about, the depth thing, is you want to be able to have this a little bit further away from this backdrop, because if not, and if you don't have a lot of space, if you bring this really close and it's just like that, you don't want that, right? You don't want, you know, there's really no spill on there. So the more that you bring it back, the more saturation you have in the background. I find like a pretty good spot is just like that. And then, you know, obviously you'd make it a little bit higher, a little bit lower based on where you are within the shot. So, you know, if I was to move it up to like right here, as long as when I get in front of it, right, when I'm making the video, as long as I'm blocking it, we're good to go, right? So you just a lot of things that you want to play with. Of course, the hair light over there. Let me move this to where like the camera would actually look like. So when it's all said and done, this is usually what the shot would look like. However, the difference between the lens I'm using now and the one that I'm using in like the explanation portion is this is more of a wide angle lens. Now, when you have a wide angle lens, you just want to be careful, because if you look, if I move this just a little bit up, is with this stand itself, you can start to get to the top of it like that. So again, that's the only kind of negative part of having these stands specifically, is because I'm a little bit taller, it doesn't go as high as I need it sometimes, which kind of sucks. But as long as, again, you get the right size, as long as you kind of finagle it in a way that you know, the lens works well and you are fitting in the frame, I mean, this still looks great, right? For less than $200. So again, just a couple things to throw in there for you guys. And yeah, hopefully this helps. But that's for the most part the three main pieces of it, right? You have the background, which was about 50 bucks. You have the light stands, which were about 50 bucks. If you do go for more of the you know, the wall mount side of it, I think it's about 90 to 100. So that's going to go over the 200 budget. And then for the lights as well, the lights were only about 90. So I guess technically you could get it under 300 if you just picked one of these lights. But if you did pick up two of the lights, right, if you got the one light on one side and then you had the one behind you as well, that's going to bring it up to under 300. But I mean, it's still relatively cheap for the versatility of the background that you have. But while we're here, I'll actually touch on the camera as well as the lighting that I'm using right here. So this right in front of me is just a regular ring light. What I like to do is I have it super low. I have it really dim. I think it's like one click away from being the brightest that it can be. So again, I'll leave all the links down below. And then I do have a little bit of a red, kind of like that's, you know, the orange tint to it. So it's not like 100% white, like a beauty guru, if you will. So I have that right here just off to the side of my face. And the camera that I'm using is an A6300. That I think ran me about $900 just for the body. And then the lens that I have on it is a 50mm lens, which is, it's kind of like the camera's a little bit further away from me, but it does give me kind of like that crispness in my face, in, you know, the colors, and making sure that those things do pop when I'm recording with the with this camera on there. So I've used it for a really long time. I'm probably going to upgrade into like the A7 series relatively soon. But I mean, I've just had it for a long time and it's treating me really well. The only thing that I would say, if you were to buy an A series camera, and this is any of them, right? The A6300, the 7 series, is they have an overheating issue that I've tried to do a couple different things to alleviate. There's different settings that you can have on your camera to make it so that it doesn't shut off at a certain amount of time, but there's been multiple times where I would like have the camera going and I'd record for like 20 minutes and then it would just like shut off because it got too hot. So that's the only part that sucks about it. But other than that, super versatile, great camera, great picture quality. And I mean, the setup as well as the lens was really only about $1,000 to $1,200. So a little bit more on the budget side for a really great picture of a camera. While we're here, I'll touch on this mic as well. This is the Shure SM7B with the, I think it's called like a cloud amplifier or cloud fire, something like that, that you attach to to it to make sure that, you get the best out of it, brings up the gain a little bit, add some compression to the voice so that, again, it just sounds better. For whatever reason, if you use it without it, you have to like really boost up the gain. You have to edit a lot in post and it just doesn't sound as good. So I would definitely recommend if you do go for this mic, it's the one that like all the podcasters use. A bunch of other YouTubers use it as well. So that's the one that I have. And yeah, I'm trying to look around here and see if there's anything else specifically. I'll put the tripod down there as well. And then the monitor that I'm using that's right above my camera so I can actually see what I'm looking at, being that the camera is a little bit further because it's a 50mm lens. But yeah, that's the lighting, that's the background, that's the thing that's holding up the this lighting here, the camera, the lens, all that good stuff, the mic as well. So that's pretty much it. All right, guys, and that is going to do it for today's video. Now, if you saw any value in this video at all today, make sure to click the like button as well as the subscribe button to get notified every single time we upload a brand new video here on the Real Estate Marketing Guys channel. And let me know down in the comments, are you going to try this out? Are you going to get this background? What's your favorite color? Which one are you going to try to achieve? And I'd love to give you guys some feedback if you have any questions or anything that you need in terms of help to get this set up for your own home studio. So with that being said, guys, my name is Aaron from Revamped Real Estate as well as the Real Estate Marketing Guys. Enjoy the rest of your day and we'll see you on the next video.